On this vote, the yeas are 50, the nays are 48, and the concurrent resolution, as amended, is agreed to.
Well, there you have it. The Senate passed funding for ICE and Border Patrol last night in a narrow 50 to 48 vote overnight as the shutdown at the Department of Homeland Security enters day 69 this morning. Republican Senators Lisa Murkowski and Rand Paul joined all the Democrats in opposition. The GOP is now warning Democrats could force another government shutdown this fall. They are looking for ways to stop funding battles from being used as political leverage. The House now must pass its own version of the budget resolution before final legislation can move forward. Joining me now is Texas Congressman Chip Roy, a member of the House Budget Committee. Congressman, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. What can you tell us about this?
Well, it happened in the middle of the night, I think around 3:30 in the morning. I was talking to my friend Mike Lee late last night. Looks like the Senate mustered the votes for what is the motion to proceed, right? So they're one step further. They still need to come together to pass the final bill. I guess they'll do that next week. The fact here is that Republicans are all united in wanting to make sure that ICE and Border Patrol are funded after Democrats decided to shut down DHS and reject funding for ICE and Border Patrol, endangering the American people. It's just absolutely mind-boggling that they would do this for political points. Republicans are united in trying to get funding for ICE and Border Patrol. But here's the question that we're still wrestling with. We don't like isolating ICE and Border Patrol. This is not the way to do business, because what this means is we're going to be funding the rest of DHS, the rest of government in the fall and September without ICE and Border Patrol because Democrats are blocking it. I think we need to break the back of that by funding all of DHS. I actually agree with Senator Cruz. We should be taking a broader approach to reconciliation, but obviously the Senate's moved this bill. We'll see if they get it through the Senate. I think they will. And then we're going to have to decide in the House what we do. But bottom line is we'll figure all those mechanics out. One way or the other, we're going to break the back of the Democrats on this. Look, you know, it's the Democratic leader, Hakeem Jeffries. He kind of gave up the game yesterday when he was gloating about Virginia, which is mind-boggling in itself because it's such a disaster what they did in Virginia with redistricting. But he said, quote, "We're at war." I mean, he's actually acknowledging and giving up the game that they're at war with us, with the American people. So the Senate, reacted last night. We're going to find a way to do our job, and I think that's what the American people expect, and that'll pay dividends in November. We just got to figure out how to get it all done over the next few weeks.
Well, your colleague Jason Smith was with me yesterday. He said the same thing. He said we should be doing everything in this reconciliation plan. Why are we wasting a reconciliation opportunity and just making it narrow just to fund immigration and not our other priorities? Here's the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee with me yesterday. Watch this. We're gonna wait for Jason Smith. We've got the soundbite coming, but what else would you want to see in this reconciliation package?
Yeah. Well, I know Jason well, so I'm picturing him in my mind in that great clip when we get it. But no, look, Jason and I worked hard together last year on the big, beautiful bill. We delivered for President Trump. We delivered the tax cuts. We delivered, obviously, the repeal of the Green New Scam subsidies, Medicaid reform. We actually delivered funding for DHS, which we're now using right now to keep them afloat while Democrats have been blocking funding. We had the foresight of knowing Democrats would play games. So, look, I'm with Jason, Senator Cruz. I would like to see greater tax relief for middle-class Americans. I'd like to see, for example, expansive health savings accounts. I'd like to see us figure out defense. We've got to go restock our munitions, some that have been depleted while we're in conflict with Iran. We can find a way to pay for that by reducing fraud. We saw the fraud that was exposed in Minneapolis. There are other things that I think we can do. I would fund all of DHS, get it all in a big package, and demonstrate to the American people heading into the fall that we're going to fund the priorities, defend the president's agenda, defend our men and women who are standing up to defend our country. But we're also going to give greater tax relief and benefits for the American people so that they can continue to have increased affordability and deal with those issues too at home.
All right, here's Jason Smith right now. Watch this. I know that Mike Johnson, the Speaker's intention is to have perhaps another reconciliation plan for your other priorities. That would be a third reconciliation plan after, obviously, last year's big, beautiful bill. What would go in that plan?
I don't think that there could ever be a third one. So I think that this is our opportunity to do everything that we need to do in it. Go after waste, fraud, and abuse within this reconciliation. Make sure that you're funding our troops. Make sure you're securing our border. If we're doing it, let's do it right and only the one time we need to do it. Because think about it. We have just 8.5 months left of this session. 8.5 months. In 2 months, we're not even up here because of the election.
So you would argue that maybe in this reconciliation package that you've got to get on the president's desk by June, you can fund ICE and Border Patrol, perhaps put defense money in, and maybe make the Save America Act a budgetary item? Or is that too much to hope for?
I think that you can be creative and make sure the Save America Act is a budgetary item, and I think that that should definitely be within this reconciliation bill. Where there's a will, there is a way, Maria, and we have to stick together.
Congressman, what do you make of that? And the problem is, I don't know if you have the support on all of that just with the Republicans. I mean, look, even just yesterday, all you were doing in the Senate was trying to fund ICE and Border Patrol, and you had 2 senators go with the Democrats.
Well, first of all, I agree very strongly with Jason Smith on most of what he said. I would take one issue with, I'm not 100% sure we can get what we want to get on the Save America Act through the budgetary process, at least not the way the Senate's currently operating. I think they'll let the parliamentarian block too much of that. Mike Lee feels that way, as do I. This is all complex inside the Beltway stuff. But I think the reason you lost a couple Republicans, I can't speak for Murkowski, but I know Rand, I think, probably is viewing this through the lens of not wanting to isolate ICE and Border Patrol and not run the funding bill that way. So he was a no. But look, I think we've got to be on offense. We've got to be aggressive. Look, but let's all remember why we're here. Like, first of all, the reason we have TSA and the reason we're having to deal with making sure it gets funded is because we had Islamists that have been attacking our country. The reason that we're blocking and not being able to have funding is because Democrats want to lock down our country to advance a political Marxist agenda. The same Democrats that just jammed through this ridiculous redistricting plan in Virginia that I hope the Virginia Supreme Court will strike down and uphold the lower court that struck it down, because it's clearly violative of the Virginia Constitution and laws. But look, you can't win a war you don't acknowledge exists, Maria. And Hakeem Jeffries said they're at war with us. So we have got to act like it. Republicans have got to get on offense. I'm glad the Senate's trying to fund ICE and Border Patrol, but let's be a lot more aggressive. Get the Save America Act done. Let's pass more aggressive things in reconciliation.
Well, it's a great point, because you've got a couple of months away, the midterm elections, and you've got new Fox News polls out this morning showing 52% of voters would back a Democrat for Congress, compared to 47% for a Republican if the election were held today. How are you feeling about the midterms a few months away in the middle of a war and a lot of expectations that the House loses seats in the majority?
Well, number one, I think we've got a lot of work we need to do to get on offense. Like I said, I think that the president is doing a great job. And by the way, when I go home and I get on, I explain what we've been doing. I say, look, our border is currently secure, but yes, we need to codify it. We are now stronger around the globe. Yes, we need to bring this conflict to an end, but the world respects us. Our enlistments and our recruiting in the military are up because people believe in our military again. Our economy is in a much stronger place. We are reclaiming the Western Hemisphere. We're going after cartels. We're designating them as terrorists. Americans are now safer. The economy is now trending in the right direction. Spending has been somewhat held in check. We need to go further. We can hold inflation down, get affordability up, but we've got to get on offense on our message. We've got to stop infighting and, being strategically kind of stuck and letting Democrats grab the agenda. Don't let them shut things down by blocking ICE and Border Patrol. Let's immediately get on offense and pass a much bigger package. If we end up doing the skinny bill, which is not my choice, not my preference, then we better darn well move a third reconciliation package very quickly. We've got a lot to decide the next 2 weeks, but we've got to reclaim the agenda to win. Losing is not an option. The Marxists want to destroy this country, and that's what Hakeem Jeffries literally admitted yesterday. So let's go do it. Let's defend the president. Let's get behind the president, and let's go deliver. But I'm not black-pilled. James Blair made a good point yesterday. He said we outperformed in Virginia. We got to make sure we outperform the rest of this year. But we need the Virginia Supreme Court to hopefully save us by striking down this ridiculous redistricting map.
All right, we'll be watching all of that. Congressman, it's good to see you. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Maria. God bless.
All right, Chip Roy joining us. We'll be right back. Stay with us.